Welcome back to another episode of the Cody Tucker Show. As always, I'm your host, Cody Tucker. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, the one and only Miss Arabelle Raphael. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Could not be better. Been looking forward to this for a while, so yeah, I'm glad we're making it happen. Before we kick into things, go ahead and plug, promote anything you like. Where can people find you? All that good stuff.
My OnlyFans, duh.
Hell yeah.
It's at Arabelle Raphael, just my name. I make a lot of stuff. I'm on there a lot. You know, it's a good time, and it's like where like the most of what I'm making these days is as I like slowly like do less and less mainstream.
Yeah.
Um, and you can find me on Twitter at Mommy Arabelle, on Instagram at Arabelle Raphael. It's pretty easy to find me. You should
Yeah.
look me up.
Yeah, I imagine you're saved on most people's search history, if I had to guess. So shouldn't be too difficult. Do you think most content is going to OnlyFans? Like, obviously, OnlyFans has been around for a long time. It's not like a new
Yeah,
thing. But
no.
do you think that it's becoming like, I don't know how much of a competition it is to like mainstream porn. Maybe it's a huge competition, maybe not. But do you think eventually it will kind of overtake? Because there's just something about like being able to create your own stuff that's just so much more appealing.
I mean, it has to a certain degree. Like a lot of people, who used to make their living doing like mainstream, like
Mhm.
now, like either don't do it at all or do like a handpick of things here and there, which is kind of,
Yeah.
I'm like almost retired doing a couple things here and there, but I'm like, that's
Yeah.
just not where I'm putting my efforts. Um, so there's definitely a lot of that. And I mean, there will always be people who want to do mainstream, who want to be in movies, who want to be on
Mhm.
these like iconic sites that they watched, all that jazz. That I think will always be there. But like
Mhm.
the real money as a performer is making your own stuff. And I mean, like, you get to control your entire image. You get
Yeah.
to, so like, I don't know, you can shoot for a studio and they can just like post the terrible photos of you. That's just like part of the internet. There are so many bad photos of me on the internet, like, especially because I've been doing them since 2010. So, like,
Yeah.
before you
Yeah.
like figure out like what looks good on you and what doesn't, I have like all
Mhm.
of my awkward phases, like, recorded basically.
That's rough.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've let this go. And once in a while, I'll meet like a new porn girl, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I'm so freaked out. There's this bad photo of me," and I'm like, "Oh, you wait. You won't care. And then there will be at a point that
Yeah.
you will just not care anymore."
Yeah, it seems like the give a shit factor has to be pretty low. Like, if you're in the adult film industry in general, I mean, obviously, you care about stuff, like, you care about your content being good and all that stuff, but I imagine, and you could definitely tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I imagine, like, you probably have an innate confidence in yourself to where things like that don't bother you too much. Am I
You
wrong, or
No, I mean, you're not wrong. It's
Mhm,
confidence is a weird thing because in some ways I
mhm,
feel very, very confident, and in others I'm also an insecure bastard like everybody else.
yeah.
And there's always this assumption that like we don't have feelings at all, which I'm like, no, like
Yeah. Well,
sometimes,
that's easier for
but
people to handle if they imagine you don't have feelings and you're not a real person, which
totally right. And like
yeah.
that's a whole thing. Even people who consume it, right, is like there's this like
Mhm.
hardcore, like complete objectification of like porn performers, which
Yeah.
I don't think is inherently bad when you're just in the sexy time moment. It's afterwards when you're like,
Yes.
oh, I'm not seeing this person as like a whole human being. But anyways,
Right.
but besides the point, what
Yeah.
were we talking about?
Yeah. About bad pictures of yourself and
Oh
being
yeah, yeah.
confident and
But
not giving a fuck.
yeah, but you have to kind of you have to grow a thick skin
Mhm,
because and the more successful you are, the more you're gonna get shit on because more people
mhm.
are gonna see you. So you have to learn it or you will not survive or just like have like a mental breakdown all the time because people are so
Yeah.
fucking mean online.
Oh,
They're
tell me
just
about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I know like they just like it's so weird because I've been through a lot and I've been a miserable bastard at
Yeah.
times, but I've never been so miserable that I'm like, I'm gonna go shit on a bunch of people online.
Never.
you know?
It's
Never. It's so
look.
weird. It's a different kind of sad and
Yeah.
miserable that I like
Yeah.
I don't relate to. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, was like a depressive for like most of my life, but I don't
Yeah.
get this one.
See, I think there's part that's interesting because I'm the same way. Like, I've, gone through depression, all kinds of stuff, and I still have like anxiety and all that kind of shit. But I've never wanted, and I shit on things a lot. I have very
Oh
strong
yeah.
opinions, and there's a lot of things I hate, but I would never, like, if I watched like a TV show I didn't like, I would never go find the actor and be like, dude, you
Yeah.
fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
I would, I mean, I would tell somebody if I like them, like if I really like them, I'd like shoot a message that they may not see, but even if they did, it would just be like, hey, like I really enjoyed blank. Like I don't
I don't
think
get
that
it
makes
either.
me just this angel. Like I feel like I'm just a good, normal person.
Yeah, it's like really a basic. I found out that my dad is is like a troll, online troll. He wants like yeah, like
Really?
political. He's a political troll. I
Oh,
found
that's the
this out,
best.
and
No,
he's like,
that's what you
yeah, I
want your
got like
dad to
kicked off
be.
of Instagram. I'm like, I deal with people like you. You guys are insane. I'm like, go get help, dude.
Okay, that's a great point, but also that's how you want your dad to be. You want your
Yeah,
dad to be
he
one of
literally
those
makes
ones who
IG accounts. Sorry,
no,
he
no,
makes
no, no.
IG accounts to troll. Like, so we're Persian, right? He
Okay.
makes accounts to troll um, people in the Persian Iranian regime right now.
Right,
Like he
right.
keeps like he just that's what he
Well,
does.
he's going after him then.
Yes. Yeah, this is like really like some like refugee anger, just like
Yeah.
spending his time
Oh yeah.
trolling the Iranian government.
That's amazing. Look, I mean, this may come as a huge shock to you, but most of my family are pretty hardcore Trump supporters. And I'm not
Uh-huh.
asking what your opinions are, doesn't matter. But they are some of the best trolls on the planet. What you think what you will about any side or whatever, a
You're like, that's what they're good at.
oh, a 55-year-old or up guy who's a Trump supporter will say some crazy shit, and they don't give up. That has become their job, and
No.
I mean, I I kind of enjoy it in some ways. I'm like, well, at least you're, you know, at least you're being active, I guess.
You're part of discourse.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, we live in a country of freedom. You got to be free to make troll accounts and post memes of Kamala Harris doing not great things. Like,
Like everybody's just so fucking unhinged. It's wild.
I love
Like
it. I love
you love
chaos.
it?
Yeah. I love chaos if I can just watch it from a distance.
Ah.
Yeah. I don't want to be in it. No, but
But from far away, I have
no, yeah.
mixed feelings about it. It's
Okay.
sometimes I like lean into like absurdism and I can laugh about it and it's really funny. And other times I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, this is like dark.
Well, okay, okay. So I don't want it to get like I don't want it to turn genocidal or anything. I mean,
but
geez, I mean, I know this is a
just covering the
contra.
state of how stupid people are, period. Like
Yes.
I think
Well,
that's
yeah,
like depressing.
it is. I mean, I'm not trying to be controversial or anything, but I am against genocide. So, just to leave that out there. But I do enjoy like just a good shouting match is a
Uh-huh.
fun time to
You like the
watch.
fight. You like the people. You like yeah. You like the back and forth.
I love a good public freak out. It's one of my favorite things on the planet is to go on the old gram and just find people losing their shit in a Walmart. Love it. Love it. Because I'm not that person at all. I don't understand that mind. Like I was raised to be that way. I'm very much raised to be like quiet, timid, like don't say anything, just accept life as it is and move forward. So when I
Are you
see
like?
somebody, huh?
Are you in like middle America?
I'm in Texas.
You're in Texas. Oh, really interesting.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Why? I mean, why is that interesting?
D- Culturally, just in that way.
Yeah.
When I think of Texas, no, I've been there. I've never
Yeah,
lived there.
yeah.
But I wouldn't think that like, yeah, I guess that would be the approach. You think Texas, you don't think timid, right?
I see what
You
you're
know
saying.
what I mean?
Well,
Yeah,
no, that is a very valid point because a lot of people aren't. And I mean, you go to your local Walmart and you will find that out real quick.
yeah.
Actually, you go anywhere where there's more than 10 people and you'll something's going
You're
down.
like, okay.
Yeah. But I think it was just my family in general that was like
Right.
that. It's not the common thing. I'm not, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right for thinking how you're thinking. Like,
Well, no, that's why I was like, oh, I can think of like, Minnesota nice, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I come from like passive aggressive. Like the West Coast is
Mhm.
the most passive
Yeah.
aggressive place, like all along the coast.
So you're Pacific passive. Yeah.
I'm not. So every I get mistaken for being a New Yorker when I think just because I'm a Jew,
Uh,
which I'm like,
uh,
I'm like we
well,
do exist other places.
that's a good point. I know.
Well, it's not the wrong kind of Jew. That's like the Ashkenazi Jews that live in New York. I'm like, I'm a
Gotcha.
different kind. So we're in LA.
Yes.
You know, it's true. Like the
Yeah.
largest population of like Persian Jews is in Los Angeles. Uh,
Really?
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. But anyways, so people mistaken me for also because I'm really direct. So I'm really
Yeah.
direct. And so everybody is like, "Oh, you're a New Yorker." And I'm like, "I was raised in California."
If I had to guess, I would probably have thought you were from New York, New Jersey, maybe.
In the Jersey, I've gotten Jersey
Yeah,
too.
Jersey is kind of what I would have guessed. Like, I mean, I haven't really thought about like what city or state you're from, but if I had to guess, I'd be like, I'm probably from
Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah, you have a Jersey vibe, which I don't think is a
Yeah.
bad thing. I mean, Springsteen's
Oh,
from Jersey. He's all right.
I love Jersey Shore.
Oh, oh my God. Do you watch Okay, look,
Yes,
I
I
mean,
do.
forget everything else I was going to ask. Do you watch Jersey Shore Family Vacation?
Yes, I've watched both. So
It's so
I was
much better to me.
oh, agreed. I like it more. I was like too good for reality TV for like most of my life, and then during like COVID lockdown, I was exposed to Real Housewives,
Which
and
one?
ugh, I mean, I've seen all of them now.
Okay.
That's like my dirty secret. That's not a secret that I talk about
Yeah.
all the time,
Mine's
but I do
Beverly
feel shame.
Hills. I'm
Beverly Hills is great,
I
so good.
love Real Housewives of Beverly
Oh
Hills.
yeah, unhinged,
Yeah, and
unhinged.
Vanderpump Rules. That's what I've gotten into recently is Vanderpump Rules. It's basically an 11 season HR violation. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like,
So I just had surgery and
uh,
couldn't do shit for like a month, and I watched the whole. So I tried before with Vanderpump Rules. I like couldn't get
mhm,
into it, and I didn't get it, and didn't get it, and finally it took
yeah,
surgery, and I watched the whole thing.
it is.
I'm invested in these assholes' lives. It's
I I follow. Oh my god, I'm gonna admit way too much, but which is okay. Whatever. That's the point. I follow Reddit pages dedicated to these people and keep up with like the gossip going around, like Jax and Brittany. They're getting a divorce, which about fucking time. I mean,
oh
my
yeah, that was
god.
horrible.
Yeah, and like it was so crazy because the whole Scandival thing had already happened before I started watching it, and I was watching it, and I was like, this guy doesn't seem so bad. Boy, the 180 that motherfucker took towards the end. I was like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
I think he get like more and more obnoxious. Like as
Yeah,
he was always annoying, but like
yeah.
it just got like where you're like,
He was a legitimate victim in the beginning because that Jax was doing, and Jackson his girl, fuck Kristen, you're right. We're doing
yes,
horrible shit to Tom. So you're
oh
like,
yeah, 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 for
you
sure.
do feel sorry for him, so you kind of get away with some of the douchiness. And then
Yes.
later, he's not a victim anymore. Now he's an asshole, and you're like,
No, you
oh
see it all.
my god. So Jersey Shore, yes,
So
Jersey
yeah,
Shore
Jersey
Family
Shore
Vacation.
fan.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Family Vacation's amazing. Like I mean, yeah, it's just like the drama is so much more intense. Like, people are going to fucking prison and shit. Like, it's
Oh,
not
it's always
somebody
good.
just, huh?
Oh, when they go to prison, it's always like an added plus. That's like what pushed, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Put it on
Beverly
the
Hills
map.
at the beginning. I mean, you had that
Of
the
the beginning
guy.
and the end. I mean, Erica's husband.
Oh, that motherfucker. Okay, between us girls, do you think there is a chance in hell that she didn't know about the money stuff?
I think that it could. I think there could be. I'm not saying she's innocent, but like I also like a lot of those people, like sketchy husbands, do all kinds of shit, and they're not
Mhm.
like involved in the finances. They're just being like, whatever. I could see both, but yeah, I think it's a possibility. There's a
Yeah.
chance she didn't know he was doing that stuff.
Yeah. See, I think she's a huge piece of shit, but I do actually think she very easily could have not known that she
Yeah,
just has her husband putting money in her account, and he is a super wealthy dude, so it's like, I mean,
yeah,
it's not like he's a dude working in a fucking tire shop who's like, hey, by the way, don't ask any questions, but I just put $11 million in your bank account. Like, he's it's different.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's not a thing about like thinking that she's like amazing or anything. It's just that I'm
Yeah,
like, what? It's possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I did not think we were going to bond over these types of things, but
It got really I'm like we're talking how stupid people are, and then we're like, let's bond over reality
well, it's a
TV.
natural progression. I mean, yeah, I know. I wonder, it's because somewhere people are watching this and they're thinking, wow, these two. You know,
Yeah.
this is not.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Look, fuck them. I've heard enough bullshit from people as is. I'm not worried about it. And I'm sure you have to. What's the weirdest thing someone's ever said to you in person? Because in the DM, people will say all kinds of shit. But like, has anyone ever said anything to you just super out of hand in person?
I mean, yeah, all the time. I mean, just like rude shit about like my job. Like assuming
Yeah,
people I've had people just be like, "Oh yeah, like you guys don't make any money doing that, right?" Like, no. And I'm like,
sure.
What? Like, or assume, or like that's been thrown out. Or can you not? Excuse you. Sorry.
Ah, you're
Stop.
good.
Um,
Just one more for the road. Yeah. Well,
but I don't know. Yeah, people say I don't know rude ass shit all the time, or like assume like just assumptions. Like they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it must be like impossible to date," and I'm like, "No," like stuff like that. Like
yeah.
nothing like horrible, but just making like these like really big assumptions.
Yeah.
Um, I get a lot of that
Yeah.
mostly in
People
in
love
person.
making
Yeah.
yeah, people love making assumptions about people, and it's so funny to me. Like, I mean, some of it might be true, which is just part of how assumptions work. Like, you're gonna hit it on the head every once in a while, but for the most part, because like, oh, so like the dating thing, like, obviously it's harder to date
Yeah.
because people deal with jealousy. A lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people do. And if you're in porn, you're probably like jealousy becomes such a bigger factor than it is if you're not in it, which is just how it is. But that doesn't mean that you can't find it like that's
No.
ridiculous.
No, I've like had plenty of. I was married, and people are like always they assume like my divorce was like about that. I'm like, no, he was an asshole. That's all. Like nothing, actually
Yeah.
nothing to do with my job. Um, like I'm like that wasn't it. Just
Yeah.
a dick.
Yeah.
And I've dated so many people, and like yeah, that's just not been super hard. And also like
Yeah.
I'm also not gonna go for someone that's like I guess in the first place, like, I'm not attracted to, I guess, the kind of person that would be like, "Wow,"
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big assumption that people have. And, like, so many people are, like, in the industry are, like, married and have kids or have,
Mhm.
like, whole families or all, like
That's something that I think most people do not realize. Because I mean, even before I started, like, actually talking to people who are in the industry, I didn't really think it would be that common. Like,
oh,
I assumed there were some, obviously, but I didn't think it was so common that people were married to people in the industry, not in the industry, have kids, have whole families, and I'm like, "Holy shit," like,
oh, yeah.
I was kinda
Um
surprised to find out.
Oh, totally. Like one thing that they always like to do, like, what are you gonna say to your kids? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, that'll be like, yeah, a conversation. There have been so many like parents in this industry. They figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it
Yeah.
is what it is. But it's like this thing that like, oh, completely impossible. And you're like, oh, so many people do it
No.
actually. Just
I
because
mean,
you can't handle it doesn't
yeah,
mean others can't. you know.
right, right, and You know, I mean, I've thought about that too. Like, I mean, it's got to be hard for some kids, like, because kids will find anything and bully someone about it.
Oh,
But
totally. And
so
and
that
then it's
means
gonna be a thing
anything can
for
happen.
sure.
Yeah. So that's just going to be a thing. Like out of the hundreds of things they can find to bully you about. I mean,
Yeah,
all right.
no, if you
So what?
have braces, if you're chubby, if you have pimples, if you have big titties. I got like teased for having big tits. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like whatever, that they will find it. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be a thing, but either way, if they want to torment you, they will torment you. Like
Yes.
it is unfortunately like it's to me like the most horrific thing about like the idea of having kids is like, oh, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to like send them to school. Like
Yeah. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I don't have any kids as far as I know, but if I did, I'd be like, it'd be hard not to want to homeschool them, which
yeah.
I think is also a horrible idea, but
But no,
I
but I feel
get it.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, because I was a boy. I mean, I've always been a big old son of a bitch, and so I was bullied for that, and like it bothered me as a kid, but now I don't give a fuck. I could
No,
care
because
less.
grow up,
Yeah, exactly. So
hopefully.
it's one of those things that, like, yeah, okay, you have a kid. So you're a porn star, you have a kid, the kid's bullied for it. When they get older, they're not going to give a fuck. It's just going to be
Yeah.
that's what mom did. And
Yeah.
I don't care.
They'll like go through something, deal with it, and hopefully you give them the tools to like process their shit. Like if you're a
Yeah.
good parent, that's what you will provide for your kids, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then there you go. Like life's hard.
Yeah.
Like
It's a real son of a bitch
yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
as it is, it's as hard as it is beautiful, and you will, they'll deal.
Yes. Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I do you do customs in
Yes.
your OnlyFans? I always ask this, which I just think it's so fascinating. I think like exploring people's like kinks and fetishes is just so interesting. What's like the weirdest thing you've been asked to do in a custom?
I mean, so I don't. People ask this. I don't
Mhm.
really can't think of anything like crazy
Yeah.
weird. That's not like I'm pretending to be someone's like sister or
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever. Like that's like basic. I did one that wasn't even sexual that I thought was
Mhm.
really sweet, and it was just. And I actually have had this fan for a really long time.
Mhm.
That had bought a custom of me just being like, bro, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be all right. Like shit's not gonna suck forever. And I just thought that was like so sweet and like
That's that's awesome.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't think he uses it in a jerk off material way. I think he genuinely uses it as like just like a pick me up.
Motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
because he
thought that
likes
was
you.
really cute. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I like him. Like, he's there's over the years you do build, especially if you're like talking to people on a web for a while or whatever,
Mhm.
you build a relationship with some of your like, consistent
Yeah.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he has that connection to you, and then hearing you say something like that is I mean, it works for him.
Yeah,
And I
right?
mean, obviously, some people are gonna find that odd, but, communication is a weird thing, and connection's a weird thing, and nowadays, especially even more, which I'm decently young, like, I'm 30, so I've kinda grown up in a world where communication is, like, 70% virtual,
Yeah.
and it's weird. It's weird. It's not how it's supposed to be. Like, we aren't supposed to
No.
be doing this over a fucking webcam. Like, like, it's just but that's just the world we live in. So I understand how people sometimes just feel kind of lost. And so having someone like you tell them something like that fucking does something for them. So, good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, whatever, you fucking get it where you can take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like do what's gonna bring you joy. Like, yeah. But so yeah, but weird, like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But no,
I
that's a good one.
bet it's happened. I just like can't think there was a weirder one recently. Oh, he never bought it, but it was so good.
Uh-huh.
This guy like started to pay for it and then disappeared, which is too bad. But he had dwarfism, and he wanted
Uh-huh.
me to make a whole like video where I was dressed as Snow White, and then basically being like, all right, let's, Snow White fucks like one of the dwarfs.
That's a good
Which
one.
I really wanted to make. I really wish he
It's
had just
topical.
pieced out. I
Yeah.
was just like, fuck, yes, I love this. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
not
know.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a favorite. It didn't happen, but I still am like, sir, come back. I want to make this so bad for you, please.
I'm sure you could find someone to do it. I mean, they fired all the actual dwarfs from the Snow White movie,
Oh,
so I'm sure some of
it
them
was a
might.
solo. It was a solo of me just talking to him and whatever. But I just liked
Yeah,
the idea of
gotcha.
like, yeah, fuck the prince. Like, let's hook up with one of the dwarves. I'm into it. I liked it.
That's a good
Um,
one.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any I mean, obviously, you've been doing this for a long time, have done all kinds of shit, like all kinds of content. Are there any things you haven't done that you still wanna do? Like, do you have a bucket list? Things like that?
No,
No? I
no, not
yeah.
really. Maybe one day if it works out, maybe like a like guy buy scene. I never shot that. I never got
Oh,
to.
okay. Gotcha.
Maybe, but like it's not like pressing. But I've done it all.
That's what I kinda would imagine, is that
I've,
at this point, like, what else is there that
yeah.
you would wanna do?
And
I'm
there,
sure
yeah,
there's
and
shit that you
exactly.
don't
There's like
wanna do.
more extreme stuff that like more power to who's into it, but like I'm personally like not into. So like I
Yeah.
don't.
Like, what are the things that, like, you're not into? Like that.
I have a small fucking vagina. I don't want two penises in there.
Congratulations.
Now,
Yeah.
more power to the bitches that can. Like that's like, impressive, but I
Yeah.
don't want to. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like I like anal, and a lot of people don't like anal, so like whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like that's a thing I'm not into. I don't know. That's it. I do anal. I don't do like extreme anal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm like trying to do. I'm like the lowest priority. Like I just like want to make fun shit, but yeah, making one. I don't know. Yeah, there's no like super big goal I'm working for. I'm happy where
Yeah,
I am. I just kind of want to keep growing what I have and have a good time doing it.
it's a good way to be.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, it's a
No
that's
goals.
yes, being goalless is great. You're never disappointed. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a
like I'm
great
like, I don't know, my career is going well. I don't have anything. I'm like, I don't need
yeah.
to like outdo myself for
Yeah, going
anything.
with the flow is an underrated thing.
Yeah.
There's like all these people that want to like climb Mount Everest. It's stupid. Climb Mount Everest, what does
No.
that do for you? And also, there's like thousands of people doing it every year. It's not even a fucking accomplishment anymore.
I'm
Like,
35 too. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to chill and like,
yeah,
and luckily like I have like my work gives me the ability to just like kind of do that. So I don't feel like I need to go like crazy. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to
yeah.
make more like safe for work content stuff because I think it's fun and that's kind of something I'm like delving more
Mhm.
into. I guess that's a goal.
That is, yeah, it for sure is
Yeah,
a goal. Yeah.
yeah. There you go.
Well, look
I mean,
at
I'll
you.
continue doing adult stuff, but like I don't know, people respond well when I do other
Mhm.
things. I'm just kind of figuring out how I'm going to do that if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are there any like kinks or fetishes that are decent? I mean, popular or not popular that are not like crazy extreme that you just don't get? You're just like, how the fuck are people into this? Not you're
I
judging
hate
it or anything.
sloshing.
What the fuck's that?
It's like messy food stuff. Like,
Ew.
yeah, I don't like that. It's sticky.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I am not
I
not a
don't
fan
want
of that.
food. I see if I see any kind of sugar near a vagina, I'm like yeast infection. Like
Is
I'm
that
worried
so?
about everybody's vaginal health.
Will that really cause one?
Yes, you
Ooh.
don't want sugar in there. Yeah.
Hmm.
That can cause a yeast or overgrowth like that.
Damn. My plans
Yeah.
for Easter are out the
Ruined.
window. Yeah.
Ruined. Yeah, no.
Yeah. That's a yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really I mean, I just kind of assumed you probably shouldn't be like shoving, popsicles in someone's
Yeah, no, you
vagina or
should.
something, but sometimes it's just hard not to, you know?
I mean, whatever. If you want to go deal with that, do it.
I
Go
mean,
be
summers get
free.
really hot in Texas, so
Be free.
sometimes you just gotta put a push pop in there and hope
Oh,
for the
oh.
best.
But yeah, the messy food stuff grosses me out. I'm not into scat, which is like
Uh,
a lot of people's like,
Thankfully.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't care. Like, if you want to go do that, go do that.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I see. I'm firmly in the field of two consenting adults should be able to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care what you're doing. Just do it like don't do it in public
Yeah,
or anything. Don't do it at
I
like
don't
a
want to
Outback
witness it.
Steakhouse or something. But
Yeah.
I might judge you in that case. But otherwise, yeah, fuck it, have fun. Like I'm into some weird shit, I'm sure, but like I don't. I think I'm somewhat mild. Like a little BDSM's always a good time. No, that's never hurting anybody. I mean, technically, but yeah,
Wah,
yeah,
wah.
yeah, yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, it's just the whole world of that is fascinating. Like King's Fetish is like where it comes from, like how you're into it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
are you able to pinpoint like things from like that you saw as like a kid that like turned into fetishes that you like, or you know?
Okay, I'm like into like monster porn. So I don't want to watch human beings have sex unless it's like in front of me. I'm not into watch. I do not consume porn at all. Like, or that's not true.
That's
I do not
interesting.
consume porn of like real people. I like
Yeah, yeah.
hentai. I like cartoons. I like the 3D stuff. I don't want to see real
Really?
people. Yeah, absolutely not. I'm like looking and
Is that
I,
because you're in porn, or were you like that
yeah,
before?
no, I watched porn before. It's
Okay,
because I'm in
okay.
porn. Because I'm like,
Yeah,
to me, I'm just like, I'm watching people at work. Even though I've had hot times at work, I just can't get out
yeah.
of that.
I get that.
And, or like, I know the person, or I know the company, or I know that fucking space. This one's a bitch. I know all your hopes and dreams. I like can't objectify you. You're like too much of a real person for me
Yeah.
to like go there.
That's
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so just cartoons. And I remember like my mom wrote her thesis for her master's was like all about like the history and like so she was a sociology major
Okay.
of like women breastfeeding animals. And there was this like photo cartoon of these snakes like latched on to this lady's titties and she's like crying and there's like sucking milk out, but she's like, it's hot, right? And
Okay.
I definitely now have like a monster, it's not like quite like it's not animals breastfeeding, but I have
Yeah.
like a monster like girl thing. And I think that's like kind of into it. And like snakes are
Y-
reptilian
Yeah. Yeah. That for
stuff.
sure. There's a connection for
Yeah,
sure.
like it's like tentacle porn-y. I definitely
Hmm.
think like that like was ingrained in me. So I
That's
think that's
interesting.
the thing for sure. And it's
Yeah.
more of like my choices in porn and in media that feel
Mhm.
important rather than like acts, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Jessica Rabbit, I love watching like
Oh yeah.
cartoon babes like get fucked. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like my that I can remember things that have shaped my porn taste, but not necessarily like fetishes. Like I don't have a answer for a lot of those.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, no, I'm with you. Like for the Jessica Rabbit thing. See, like as a kid, big thing for Marge Simpson. That was a
Oh
big
yeah.
one. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I kind of felt like if Homer could end up with her, I might have a chance. Like I'm a step above that. I think not to toot my own horn, but same like or like Family Guy was kind of the same way. Like I'm like oh shit because it's kind of how it always is. Like the husband's some kind of dumpy
Totally. I
dipshit.
mean, Married with Children.
Oh my god, that was so that actually kind of turned into a bit of the not necessarily like family, like sort of the family fetish of like not my family, but me wanting to like
I
hook up
get
with a
it.
mom and a daughter because Katie Seagal and Christina Applegate were so hot on that show.
I get it. I also think like I love like family fetish stuff, but I have like absolutely no interest in like my actual family. It's like, it's
Yeah,
like not these things are not that's also I think people don't understand with like fetishes. They're like, oh, you're into role play or you're like into step whatever. You must actually want to fuck your family. And you're like, absolutely not. I don't want to fuck
that
any
is
like
I'm
I don't want
so
to fuck
glad
these
you said
people.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
no. I just want the idea of this pretend person pretending to be this, and then it's like naughty and subversive, but like I don't want to fuck those people at all.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, yes, that is exactly what it's the taboo behind it that just
yeah,
is a turn like so I'm like really into like public stuff because you're not supposed to do it. Like
of
that's
course.
the fun of it. So like yeah, you're not supposed to fuck your stepmom, but and I've never had a stepmom. And my real mom kind of looks like John Oates from Hall and Oates.
Yeah,
So
not who you're trying to have sex with.
not really. So, but when you watch porn, you see somebody that looks not like that. You're like, oh, holy shit, this works for me.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. It's people like don't quite understand like the differentiation. It's like you can be into BDSM and not like be abusive to people and actually want to hurt people non-consensually. There's a difference.
yeah,
Like, right, there's a difference between BDSM and abuse.
right.
Like,
And that's how I am too. So, actually, this is kind of an interesting one too because there are certain things that I like doing personally, but not like seeing it in porn,
that's
which I think
interesting.
is usually the opposite.
But I'm like this too.
Okay.
Okay, like I never watch anal stuff. Even when I used to watch porn
Hmm.
with people, and even in the cartoons that I watch, I don't want to see anal. I love
Really?
it in my personal life. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just like don't
Huh.
want to watch it for some reason. It's not appealing to me.
You don't know why it is just one of those
No,
things.
it's
Yeah.
just one of those things. Yeah, I can think of a reason why. Love
Yeah.
it in person. Yeah.
See, I'm the same with like BDSM. Like and I'm not like doing anything like crazy in my personal life, but like, well, I don't know, maybe, but like I
To
like
someone, yes.
just
Yeah.
to a lot of people probably,
Yeah.
but I like doing that. But I don't like seeing it in porn because there's something about watching another guy like do shit like that to a girl. Like
Interesting.
it,
Is it because you don't
I,
know their intentions, and so, like, you know yours when you're doing it, so it feels more
that
comfortable,
has a lot
whereas
to do with it, and
interesting.
I feel like protective. Okay, I mean that's gonna sound so weird, but like I do, I feel like protective of that person. Like I don't want them to get hurt, which I know they're not.
Mhm.
I know it's like consensual, but my brain just has such a hard time like shutting
Going
that
there.
off. Yeah, because I've always felt like I needed to like protect people. So I've always been like bigger than everyone, and which I'm not like some like powerhouse of a fucking person by any means. Again, Texas timid, but I but I've just always had that like feeling like where I just need to like keep people safe. And so whenever I see something like that in porn, I feel like, oh, like no, I don't like this. But I love doing it in real life, which is
Yeah.
weird, maybe. I don't know. The human brain's odd. Like,
It's so weird. Yeah, and we know very little about it, really.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Trust me, I've been trying to figure my own out for about 30 years, and it ain't. Who the fuck knows what's going
I
on
don't know.
in there?
You never finish. I think that's the
No.
joke. No, you just spend your life
Yeah.
untangling, and you're like, oh, this is why I do that. Oh, this is like what I can do. Like, and
Yeah.
you make it. I feel like getting older for me is making life like cooler and cooler and more tolerable because you figure out a little bit more stuff. But like, yeah, you're never done.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Do you
if
have
you think
any?
you're done, you're
Uh-huh.
probably an asshole. I'm sorry.
That no, that is. Oh my god, that's such a good point. Yes, the people who like feel like they don't have any work to do on themselves, which those anyone who has too much confidence is an asshole. Like
Agreed.
there's got to be some doubt in there. You got to have a
Oh,
little
there's
doubt.
something in humility and something, and
Yes,
like no one's perfect. That's
exactly.
just like
Yes,
not
yeah.
real.
Now, granted, you can go the opposite way, and then it becomes a thing where like you don't see anything good in yourself, and that's
That
obviously
yeah, that's yeah, right.
horrible.
These extremes are not good. No, it's about
What do you
balance, figuring out balance.
what do you like most about yourself? I mean, physical, not physical. It could be anything. Like, is there something that like you just really enjoy that you do or have?
Um, I think I'm pretty like open, and I think about things in a like critical way that I think most people don't.
Mhm.
And I like that. I have
Yeah,
a lot of space for nuance and the grays in the world, and I think we live in a world that like likes to live in extremes,
yeah,
um, whatever end you're in, and I like being able to see that and
yeah,
understand that. It's sometimes annoying, but it's a good thing. And like
yeah.
I have, I don't know, great lips. I'm so grateful I don't have to get lip filler.
Really? That's not filler?
Oh, that's not filler. No, people think I have way more work done than I have.
Yeah, I would have guessed, to be honest.
No, no.
Yeah.
I did my nose, which I honestly kind of regret. Like, but
Really?
it's like, I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like I'm like, oh, I wish I had actually just like learned to like accept that like I had a big old nose and that I was still hot, like whether I had a bigger nose or not,
Let me
which I
tell you.
still do. But
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, and I'm not just trying to like kiss your ass or anything. I have a huge thing for chicks with big noses. That
yeah,
is a huge. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from, but like that's just always been a thing.
it's nice, yeah, and so and I look at more as there's more and more like other like Middle Eastern girls in porn, like that don't
Mhm.
have their noses done. I'm like, oh, like
Yeah, yeah.
I look at them and I'm like, and I also have like super like a compassionate for myself because I was like online for a really long time and like
Mhm.
having stuff like pointed out at you like will take, I think, a thing, like will take
Yeah.
like a toll.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, that and I had a BBL like because I wanted a bigger butt.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's
There's like
it.
no, there's like Botox, but Botox
But
is
yeah,
just all
that
you're
doesn't
doing is
count.
freezing your muscle. I just can't
Yeah.
like
No,
I
you're
can't.
look, you're a little more reactive than most people I've seen
Oh
with
yeah, I
Botox.
need it to move. I need it to
Again,
move.
going back to us watching Real Housewives,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I know that, right?
you ain't on that level.
No, when I go to the to the injector, I'm always like, I want my face. They're like, oh, you want it to move? I'm like, yes. I know I'm in
Yeah,
LA, but I actually want my face to move. I want people to realize that I'm responding to whatever is happening.
yeah,
But yeah, no. And like what? I've like years ago, I did like filler here. It doesn't last
yeah,
forever.
yeah, but no,
So
yeah, I don't even know if you really count that as like a
yeah.
cosmetic
Uh,
procedure. I mean, I guess maybe
right.
you do, but I
You
don't.
do it changes your appearance, but yeah, but it's not permanent,
Yeah,
and
see,
like
I'm
yeah.
thinking more like boob job,
Oh yeah, no.
BBL, stuff like that. So you never had a boob job?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. See, I would have. I mean, obviously, guess. Yeah,
No, they hang. Boob jobs, they're like, they're like up here.
yeah. Tell me
I'm
about it.
like, yeah, I
I
mean, I
know.
like him. That's like a big part of my appeal is like I have like gigantic natural boobs, like, so
Yeah,
they're stoked and it's like hard to find. It's hard to find. There are not as many of us. You're not a lot of like H cups like walking around. Like they're just not.
yeah. That is very true. Yes, yeah. Because hmm, that is interesting. That has to be a big part of the appeal.
Oh, it's a huge thing, and, like, people like that they, like, fall a little bit, that they hang a little bit because it shows,
Yeah.
I used to be so insecure about them when I was younger, and then I realized,
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, this is, like, the thing that, like, it's not the only thing, but
Yeah.
it is one of the things that people like about me, and not only that, that I can make money off of, and that, like, people are actually, like, really into, and
Yeah.
that's, like, instead of it being, a minus, it's actually, like, a very, like, lucrative, like, thing." Um
Amen.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of any kind, yeah. I'm
Yeah, I know,
definitely not
I don't
picky.
care. Size things doesn't matter. I like a big butt, but boobs I don't care
Oh,
about.
yeah, yeah. See, that's where I kinda head down. I go a little, towards the rear for, that's like actually, the first thing I notice in someone's probably their eyes. That's number
I
1.
mean, face is number 1.
Yeah.
Face is number 1.
That's weird that
I
we just
care about
adjusted
face.
ourselves at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, autism
That's because I
kicking
was,
in a
like,
little.
laying on my
Yeah.
legs. I'm like, the fucking went to sleep. I'm like, "Ow."
Yes. But no, face, yes, face is always number 1. So anytime somebody's like, "Oh, I'm an ass man," or "I'm a tit man," I'm like, "You're a fucking child." Like,
I mean, but I consider myself an ass man, though. Like, a big butt, I will
well
notice
well,
forever, and I'm like, so, like, I don't care, like, I think small boobs are cute, I think big
mhm,
boobs are cute, I don't really give a shit, it's not the
yeah.
thing, I appreciate them, but it's not a thing that I'm like, "Oh, wow, these boobs," where, like, someone will walk by and I will, like, my boyfriend calls me, oh, what was it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. Damn it, it would be good, but whatever. He makes fun of
Yeah.
me because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I stare."
Oh, I don't even I used to try to hide it, do the peripheral thing, not anymore. I mean, I
I
hope I
turn
don't come
myself
across.
around sometimes because 'cause I'm like, "You gotta stop," and I
Look,
just look and I'm
there
like,
have
"Alright."
there have been times where I've audibly went, "Jesus." Like, and then people look, I'm like, and then just go back to pretending like I'm, looking at my phone. But yeah, like you see like a nice ass walk by, and it is impossible not to notice. Like, I mean, it's just, yeah, just one of those things. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but in general, like what I'm most attracted to would be person like eyes for sure. That's by
Whole
and large.
face. Whole face for me. Like, I'm like, if
Yeah,
I don't like your face, you could have whatever people consider the most perfect body. I don't give a shit. I'm like,
yeah. That's in yeah,
that's me.
yeah. What's like your biggest non-sexual or non-physical turn on? Non-sexual, non-physical. Like it's just a thing that yeah,
Okay, I've got 3.
perfect.
And I need someone smart. Intelligence is a huge thing. I
Yeah,
really need it. You have to be able to just get like super stupid, like be so dumb with me, like because that's
yeah,
where I find pure joy. So like a
yeah.
silliness, so like really smart, really silly,
Mhm.
and like kind, and like I like compassionate people,
Yeah.
like yeah, and I like, and I want to be pushed to be more compassionate myself. And so I think that's like really important, especially after being around other folks that, or been in the past with folks who were not
Mhm.
those things, specifically like compassionate. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't think I want to do that ever again.
Yeah, I have a hard time being with somebody who doesn't have some sort of empathy. And I'm not saying you gotta just be like, going doing
No,
charity work
no,
24/7,
no,
but
no,
to
no.
have just like some ability to see things from another person's perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, intelligence is a big one too.
Yeah,
Like
I can't see the
it's
dummies.
yeah, it's hard. Like I'm a big reader and someone who's like, "Oh, I don't read." I'm like, how the fuck does that happen?" Like
So funny. On
yeah,
IG today, I posted
I
some photos of me with a book, and
I
someone
saw.
was like, "Did you see?"
uh,
He was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
she's not that smart." I was like, "It doesn't take a genius to know how to read." And like,
No, it's actually
sir,
one of the first things you learn how to do.
yeah, I just thought it was so funny. I was just like,
I
so
know.
vexed. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's like a flex, sir.
Yeah, yeah, to be like, "Look at me, I can read."
Yeah.
But do you
Uh,
read a lot? I mean,
I read a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you have, like, a
Yeah.
certain type of book that you like to read?
No, I read almost everything except for like romance or like
Yeah,
heavy fantasy. I like sci-fi, less so into
okay,
fantasy.
gotcha.
But I pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
I read nonfiction. I read fiction.
yeah.
Yeah, history, biology, and then like just like literature. So it's kind of all over the place.
That's no,
Um,
I'm with you. I'm the same. Like history, obviously, and yeah, history and then philosophy. I love reading like philosophy books like Sartre and people like Albert
mhm,
Camus, which I don't know if you ever listened
mhm,
to them because we were talking about
mhm.
absurdism and yeah, like
Yeah.
Kierkegaard and people like that.
Mhm.
Fascinating fucking shit. I mean, most of them are out of their goddamn minds. But
No,
it's
but yeah.
fascinating to hear, some because some of the stuff like just resonates. Like, I'll read like 20 different books on philosophy and most of them just like all right, I mean, I get what they're saying but I don't give a fuck, and then one person's thing will come up and it'll become like holy shit, this is how I felt always. It's just weird.
You like the oh, what the fuck are they called? When there's not me, life is meaningless, but you create meaning.
Existential,
Thank you, thank
yeah,
you. You like the
that's mine. Yes,
existentialists.
yes, so
Yeah,
like Albert Camus, so Sartre Kierkegaard is
I've
my
read both.
favorite.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
got
So
you.
Kierkegaard, the whole idea of of life being meaningless, and then like reading like The Stranger and books like that where yeah, I that's my go-to for sure. I mean, my favorite book of all time is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka.
Call,
I don't know if
yeah.
you ever read it, but
Hmm.
yeah, I I mean, apparently there's a meaning to it, and I don't know what it is, but I love it. I enjoy that book for some reason. It just resonates with me. The idea of waking up as an insect is like just which I don't know what that says about me to but yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. That's funny that people were like not thinking that you read. Like, you actually
Oh,
I mean, you come
it's
across
crazy.
somebody
I
who
mean,
reads.
bro, it's wild. Or like they'll be like, if I wear a band shirt, they'll be like, "Do you really listen to that band?" I'm like, one, I know you do. You don't ask this. You don't ask men this like ever. Second, like honestly, if I
That's a
was gonna
good point.
fake interests, I would have done something like I like boring niche shit that's like not like great for the internet. If I was gonna fake interests, I would have been like
Yeah.
smarter about it. Like nobody gives a shit about like me reading, really,
Yeah.
kind of. There's like a couple, there's a handful that are stoked, but it's
Yeah.
not like if I wanted to really do it, I would have like been a fake gamer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really made money.
That that's so funny. People do only ask women that question,
Oh
which I've
yeah.
never really thought about because I think it sometimes, like, if I see somebody wearing a shirt, I'm like, "I wonder if they actually like that band." I don't, like, necessarily judge them, like, "Oh, they shouldn't be wearing it." I just wonder, like, in my head, how why do you like them? 'Em? How'd you get into them? It's more like
Yeah.
curiosity than judgment. Um, but yeah, I'm never, like, gonna ask somebody, "Name 3 songs from that
Yeah,
band."
yeah.
Like,
Well, and like I'm covered in tattoos and have like a ram skull and snake back piece, and then they're surprised I listen to metal. I'm like, I don't know, like that's like pretty
yeah.
obvious. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
get maybe some people like where it's like, oh, it seems out of character, but I'm like I'm a porn girl from the Bay wearing a Bay Area metal shirt. Like
Yeah. It's not a stretch of the imagination. I
yeah,
mean
exactly. I
yeah.
started off on websites called like Burning Angel that was like all punk, like
Yeah.
all goth
Oh,
girls.
I
Like I'm like,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell me about it. That was my
Oh, so
go-to.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is like should not surprise you.
No. Yeah, and to be honest, like, if I was just making an assumption about you, I would assume that you have a pretty wide range of taste and,
I do.
a pretty extensive knowledge of, bands and artists. Like, if I was just making an assumption, which I guess I'd be right, so maybe assumptions aren't always bad if they're informed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
do have a bunch of or not a bunch, but, like, some random questions, just kinda some little rapid fire. What was your childhood celebrity crush?
Okay, rapid fire. Oh, it's
Well,
so
not right. I mean, you
embarrassing.
can take your time. There's no
I'm just
there's no
like I don't know
rules.
what age because they're all pretty but they're all turned out to be like total jackasses.
Oh, well, that's
But
even
like
better.
when I was like little, like I had like a Titanic poster with like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like yeah,
That's a good one. Not Billy Zane.
yes, so
No,
I'm
I'm
very
kidding.
excited.
Or Kathy Bates. Yeah.
Which no, but now I'm like oh Billy Zane, like definitely sexier.
Billy Zane's a hot son of a bitch. Yeah,
Yeah,
Billy Zane's a good one. Yeah, it was
yeah.
supposed to
I'm
be
like
Rob Lowe, which is interesting.
Rob
Rob Lowe was supposed to play that part, which
That would have been so strange.
yeah. Yeah, real weird. But Rob
Yeah,
Lowe
weird.
actually is pretty good at being a prick. Like, if you ever watched Tommy Boy? It's obviously like a dumb
So yeah,
movie,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Oh, and like the Wayne's World. I can't remember if it was
yes,
one or two, but yeah,
one.
I'm
It's Christopher
35.
Walken
Like
in Wayne's 2, and Wayne's World 2 is Christopher Walken. Yeah, yeah,
that's it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, Leo. Any what are like? Do you have any embarrassing ones? Because Leo's not an embarrassing one. That's a that's a everybody had one.
When I was like 12, Marilyn Manson. That's pretty embarrassing.
Oh my god, let me tell you something. Marilyn, I know we're not supposed to like Marilyn Manson.
I can't. It's not good
He's
until. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, 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 no. You go.
Okay, so like I am not. But I believe everything anybody says. Like I'm like yes, totally. That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
His the stuff he makes is not good enough for me to justify being like art before uh artists, but there are definitely
Yes.
I do believe in that. I love Roman Polanski movies. He's a terrible human being who deserves to die. Like that guy should get shot. Like, you know.
No, 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 no. No, let me
Oh,
tell you.
no.
No, you didn't take it too far. I know that's what you're thinking. You didn't take it too far.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Roman
Like he
Polanski is
should
a monster,
monster.
but
Do I love
Rosemary's
Rosemary's
Baby's
Baby? Yes. Am
it's
I
one of the
going to go
greatest movies.
online and be like, he's innocent because I like this movie? No.
Oh, so
Um,
you're not gonna be like the 70 actors who signed their name to that list saying he should be able to come back to the US?
yeah, no,
Oh my
gross.
god. Yeah,
Yeah,
talk about
get
a fucking
fucked.
yeah,
Get
those
fucked.
every one of them. Meryl Streep, there's I said it like she's watching this. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like Marilyn.
Yeah. Meryl
Oh,
Streep,
Meryl,
Glenn
sorry.
Close. Yeah, yeah. All of you can fuck right off.
Yeah, no, get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, that is no, he's a monster. And yeah, Jack Nicholson had way more to do with this thing than people give him credit for because it was
Um,
at his house.
well, have
So
you seen Jack Nicholson's? Like, that guy sucks.
look, Jack
Did
Nicholson,
you did you look it up? Do you
look
know?
up wait, what?
He has been convicted and wasn't. I think he beat a sex worker to the point of brain damage.
Yes, I
Yeah,
saw
he
that.
sucks too. I
No,
still like his movies, but like he sucks.
yes, he passes. It's the Michael test. Do they pass the thriller test? It's passing the thriller test. Like, is their work good enough? Because I can still listen to Michael Jackson, and I
Yeah.
will continue to do so. Now I know he was looking into people's buttholes,
Yeah,
and
you
that's
you
not a good thing
acknowledge
to
the
do.
reality of things. Yeah, and I think there's
Right.
complicated stuff. I don't know. I've had people like be very judgmental of me for like still consuming that. I'm like, as long as I'm not justifying, I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know.
Because
You know,
because also a movie isn't made by one person. So
that
if
too.
you say, "Oh, we should boycott Rosemary," well, Rosemary's Baby is a bad example because it's fucking 60 years old. But like, say Roman Polanski makes a movie, and you say we should boycott this movie. Well, there was about 400 people working on that movie who you were also boycotting who did nothing wrong.
I
And
would maybe like if it's still coming out, I would steal it. Which is so anti what I preach because I do porn and we're destroyed by
I'd,
but I'm like, okay, if
I'd
you're like
steal
a
it too.
serial rapist, I'm gonna steal your shit. Like I won't financially contribute. But back
I'd
to
steal it
Marilyn
too.
Manson.
Yes, yes.
It's just like it's not good. Like my 12-year-old like crush, like
Mhm.
whatever, is not strong enough with
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know.
I get that. I mean, look, Marilyn Manson was like a hero to me as a
I
kid,
get it.
which is
I
so
also
weird
had the
to
boner
say
for him.
now. Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
embarrassing.
So,
Also, it's just like bad. It's not very good. Like when you go back, like maybe there's some bangers, but
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of it is like kind of is bad. It's
His music's amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. His music is incredible. The first like 3 or 4 albums. I mean, then it gets a little haywire. But I mean, Marilyn Manson is
Have you also seen
fucking
him live? Terrible. It's
I
like
saw him
it's
live.
rough.
Have you okay, so he's actually like lost a bunch of weight and apparently is sober and sounds amazing now. Like he just went back on tour opening for Five Finger Death Punch, which is not a
That is hilarious.
nothing to
That
brag about,
that
but
brings me joy.
yeah, I know. I figured it might. But so
I'm like
I
too
saw
much.
him with Smashing Pumpkins and it was pretty rough. I mean,
That
Smashing
sounds
Pumpkins
such
were amazing.
yeah, I've seen them play. They're
Oh,
always
they're
put on a good
incredible.
show. Yeah.
Marilyn Manson was, a bit overweight, which I know, pot kettle bullshit, but Marilyn Manson was a little overweight. So he still did the stilts thing, except
Oh yeah,
this
this
son of a bitch came
stinks.
out on stilts that were about this tall. May as well have been in stilettos. and he was walking around. I was like, this ain't the way it should be.
Yeah,
But
girl needs to stop.
yeah, it was it was a letdown.
I
But I
always
did,
heard really funny stories about him through porn people like a
yeah,
decade ago. That
yeah.
I'm not gonna, but it's very
No,
funny.
I got you. I've heard
Oh
some
yeah,
stories too through comedians who, because he's
that makes sense.
friends with some comics who, yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
So I met him whenever I was 7 years old. Met Marilyn
oh,
Manson. Wait, 2001. Yeah, 8 years old. So yeah. So I was already a huge fan, like even as a little kid. So this is like in 2000. Um, at Busch Gardens, an amusement park in Tampa Bay. Marilyn Manson was just walking around with bodyguards at an amusement park. Granted, Tampa Bay, middle of the summer, we were there on vacation. Like I'm not from Tampa or anything. But a girl in line to one of the rides is like, "Hey, did you know Marilyn Manson's here?" And I immediately am like, "Holy fuck, we have to find Marilyn Manson." So my mom was like, "All right, we'll go." And we went around this whole park looking for Marilyn Manson. Found him. This son of a bitch is wearing full, I mean, it's got to be 105 degrees humid. This son of a bitch, full makeup, full black, everything, black, like basic trench coats, which, yeah. And I'm like, there's no, like, the gimmick has to stop here. You can't tell me you were comfortable right now. And I just remember like seeing him being like, holy shit, there's Marilyn Manson. And to me, he looked like he was like 8 feet tall. And,
oh, I bet.
granted, he was wearing platform shoes. Yeah. So, anyways, so yeah, Marilyn Manson. So there was the first question.
Yeah.
Um, what was your first concert? Like decent concert?
Ooh, I don't remember big. I mean, I remember the first show I went to was like a terrible 420 ska show when I was like 11.
Or like slightly stupid or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I can't remember what my first like big official show was.
Hmm. That's
No idea.
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was, I mean, the first show I went to was the Misfits. And then after that, I saw Smashing Pumpkins by themselves, not with Marilyn Manson.
So my ex-husband opened up for what was it? Sam Hain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like backstage. We were in the green room. Each band had their own green room. And Danzig like walks by, the door is open, we're smoking weed,
Hmm.
walks by, goes into his room. Then his bodyguard comes back and is like, the smoke is bothering Glenn's voice. While this bitch is like in his room, like not
Yeah.
even like around anybody, and made us
Yeah.
all pull it out. And I was just like, oh, like Danzig knocked on us. It was very funny.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'd do the same thing. I hate the smell of weed smoke. Fucking hate
Yeah.
it. I love the smell of weed, like just smelling it in the bag, which I
With
don't
the
smoke
smoke.
weed. Oh, the smoke bothers me. So I would pull a Danzig in a
Hey, you pulled
heartbeat.
Danzig. I thought it
Oh
was
yeah.
very funny. I'm just there's some like you're at like it's just like a rock show.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
know. I
bro.
mean, it is kind of crazy, but
Like
well, his backstage antics are a little well known
yeah.
for
I'm
yeah.
like, or be like, close the room. Like I could get that. Like close the
Yeah.
door. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
so funny. It was such a fun fucking Nana
That's
move.
amazing. That's so fucking incredible. What's a movie
Yeah.
that what movie do you think you've seen the most?
I don't know. Maybe it's a French film. This is very snooty. It's a French
Yeah.
surrealist film called Podun. Called it's the Donkey Skin. It's like
Uh-huh.
a fairy tale with like Catherine Deneuve. It's
Uh-huh. When
amazing.
did this come when did it come out? Like
Late
old or
60s. Yeah, late
okay,
60s.
perfect. So I'm yeah, about to sound a little snooty myself. A huge fan of that era of French film, like the French new wave. Was
Hmm.
him Jean-Luc Godard, like The Weekend. The Weekend's one of my favorite movies. And yeah, I always feel like I sound like a prick saying that, but
No, it's fine.
oh well. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. And like Swedish films from like the 60s are always really good. I don't know if you ever watched like Persona, but it's a
No, I
fucking
don't know. I
amazing
don't know
movie.
Swedish film at all,
Oh, they're
honestly.
so good. Is
Yeah.
the main guy is like Ingmar Bergman
Oh,
or yeah.
okay, no, yes, duh.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I've
So
seen I've seen his stuff. Okay.
yeah, yeah, like
Oh,
the Seventh Seal and stuff like that. Wild
who made
Strawberries.
Wild Strawberry?
With
Was it
him.
called Wild
Yeah, it's
Strawberries?
Wild Strawberries. So yeah, he
Yeah, he
made the
made that,
Seventh
right?
Seal and then made Wild
Yeah,
Strawberries.
Wild Strawberries is great. I love that movie.
That's amazing. I did not think we were going to be bonding over 1960 Swedish
Oh
films
yeah,
either.
I forget. I'm like, oh, I know some. I forget. Like, I'm like, oh, I know a little because I know a little like here and there of a lot of stuff where like I might
Yeah.
like not be an expert, but I'm like, okay, I know like the yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm no Barbara Walters by any means, But the fact that we started this talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and have pretty much
And
ended
finish
it
it.
talking about Swedish films from the 60s, I feel like I have range.
Circle.
I mean, and I want to thank you for being part of this range. Actually, I do have a few more questions. Do you have
Yeah.
time? I mean, I don't want to
Yeah,
push
no,
you
that's
for time.
fine.
Okay. Some movie say, oh God. So what is a song that a popular song that no matter what, or it could be artists too, that is an automatic skip? Like when it comes on, nope, not listening.
Ah, it's a cross between Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus.
I'm with you.
I'm
I'm with you.
sorry, and I know this is like most of the world disagrees with me. Um,
Most of the world sucks.
it's rough, yeah, and like
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. I have a really hard. It's not all modern pop music. There is some that I like,
Yeah.
but very little. Where I like pop from a lot of other decades, but
Same.
I get less. I'm less into what I don't know. I'm old, and I date someone like in the music industry. You
Hmm.
know, like that's like what do you know, and
P.
like
Diddy.
yeah.
Okay. Damn.
No, he's a music
Yeah.
producer, and so he's
Yeah.
like, and he's done a lot of hip hop and a lot of like mainstream pop, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's really, I don't know. We'll be walking around and like we're at a store, and I'm like, oh, I hate this song, and he's like, I did that. I'm like, sorry.
Look, you can't help it. I mean,
Yeah.
you hate what you hate. Like
Oh, and
yeah.
also like it's like he's not as what he makes is not necessarily always his tastes too.
Yeah, of
To
course.
pay
Yeah,
bills.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't like a lot of the modern pop. There's like
Uh,
sometimes here and there there's
yeah.
a song that gets through to me and I'm like, okay, I get it. But like
Yeah, I'm with you. See, I'm a big fan of old school, like 70s pop, like ABBA. I mean, I will say
love
this one, scream
ABBA.
this, I will scream this from the mountaintops, from
I
the
like
Alps.
I like
I'm
Madonna.
oh,
I like up until I like the 90s Madonna shit
oh, I love
too.
early 2000s Madonna.
Oh, you know, me too.
I
Yes.
just oh the God, here we go. So I just went on like a little bit of a bender before we started this, just watching music videos from like my childhood, and Ray of Light from Madonna came on. It was one of the greatest songs ever
It's
made.
so good. Love
Like,
that record. It was
yeah,
super fun.
yeah,
It's like when,
yeah.
yeah, I'm like, okay, watch Madonna do like Kabbalah and Hinduism. I'm like, sure, girl.
And speak with a British accent for
Yeah.
6 years for no reason.
I'm like, totally, whatever. Go
Yeah.
for
Well,
it.
I yeah. Well, I can't
Yeah,
help it.
but
I'm a
yeah, there's a
fan.
lot of
Paul
old
Abdul.
pop. Fucking, I like, right? I mean, Nancy Sinatra would be like some
Oh,
it would be
that's a great
pop.
one. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I like bad '90s like club hits. Like enjoy, a lot of
Oh,
like
yeah.
Crystal Waters
Color Me
and
Bad.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah, Paul
but yeah, but
Abdul,
now
like that's all. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a fan of any of that. I just
Sheila E.
that's a huge like if I could go back in time, actually today, if Sheila E offered it, it's happening.
Yeah.
Like Sheila E is so fucking attractive to me for some
So
reason.
attractive, like plays the drums like crazy, like just like
Yes.
very
Talent.
cool.
Talent is attractive.
Oh
Might be
yeah,
one of the most like aphrodisiac-ish things. That's not a word. No way. But
no,
you know,
but it's
you
fine.
you follow
Everyone
along.
knows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, all words are made up, so I'm just doing what everyone else did. Yeah, yeah. Her like I mean, Debbie Harry's always the go-to if you go back in time. Like, we yeah. Um, damn, that's an interesting one. So mine though, for the record, is a Oasis. Fucking hate Oasis. I don't give a fuck that they're
I
reuniting. Fuck them.
I like to sing them in a really obnoxious, like fake accent
So
when
like
they hit.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, yang, yang, and like that's what I like to do. If I'm like intoxicated and there's like enough people, we do that. That's the
Yeah.
only way I kind of enjoy Oasis is like in that like format. I'm like, thank you, but that's
So
it. Like, that's
I
the
do
way
the
to do
same
it.
thing. Like if I've been just ripping through cigs all night, I will bust out some Springsteen or
What is a
Van Morrison
zig?
cigarettes.
Oh, word.
Come
Okay.
on. Yeah,
Nice. I've never
heaters,
heard.
heaters,
We
darts.
don't. No, that is not slang in California.
I don't know if it's slang in Texas either, to be
Okay,
fair.
well,
I think
wherever you picked that up, I do not know
yeah.
it, but I'm also
Well,
old.
anyways, yes. So going acoustic, full cigarettes. If after I've knocked down about half a pack, I will start busting out Bruce Springsteen or yeah, Van Morrison. I'll sing like Brown Eyed Girl, like about
Uh-huh.
as gravelly as I can because my voice will get a little, a little roughness to it.
Uh,
It's embarrassing, but you live once and that's
oh,
it.
you have to.
What's a band you wish you could have seen in concert who you
Ooh.
can't see? Like band's done. So for me, The Doors. That's number one. Yeah, or David Bowie. David Bowie would be like a close second.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Hmm. No.
Oh, you know what?
I don't
I
know.
would have loved to see like Leonard Cohen perform.
That's a good one.
I love Leonard Cohen, and like I feel
Yeah.
like he would watch it and like have feelings and maybe cry a little bit. Like I don't know, I feel like that's like would be the vibe, which I'm like, yeah, I
That's
think
a good one.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Leonard Cohen's a great choice.
so
That's
good.
Yeah, Lou Reed also would be up there, and I know a lot of people kinda shit on people if they say they like Lou Reed. It's like, "Oh,
Whatever.
whatever."
I like Lou
Yeah,
Reed. I don't care. I like the Velvet
exactly.
Underground.
Love him. I think Andy Warhol might be one of the most overrated human beings to ever exist. Uh, Andy Warhol, I mean, did nothing. He did
No,
nothing, which
that was the
art
point. It was
I
the point.
know,
I just
but
don't
for
care. I just don't care. And like the only
yes.
pieces I did like is him replicating like gay porn. That was it. Like and but
Yeah.
like I get the concept and I get for the time. I don't care. Like I can and he would have been like insufferable. Like that guy must have was like that. I
Well,
mean, he would someone shot him for a reason.
yes, Valerie Solanas shot
Yeah,
him,
yeah, yeah,
after
yeah.
writing the
Scum,
Feminist
scum,
Manifesto.
yeah, yeah, scum manifesto.
Yes.
I'm like, I
Well,
get it, girl. Like,
yeah, I would have pumped his ass full of lead too. After one conversation. So, there's a funny story, which I'll keep it quick. So Bob Dylan was at one point dating Edie Sedgwick.
uh-huh.
Who, was the
The
model.
model, yeah.
Yeah. So they were dating and he went to pick up her from the silver factory and Andy Warhol wanted to meet him. He was like, why do I have to meet this guy to take out this girl? Like, this is weird. They met, did not get along, but Andy Warhol wanted to do a painting of him. So he did and gave it to Bob Dylan as a present. Now, that painting may be worth probably what's $80 million today.
Something
Bob
stupid. Yeah.
Dylan used it as a dartboard in his studio.
That's amazing. That's
Hated
amazing.
Andy Warhol, which makes me love Bob Dylan even more.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan's an interesting one. A
Yeah. The
lot of
only
interesting phases. You're like,
have you ever seen I'm Not There?
I did not. No, I did. I saw bits of
Oh,
it, and I couldn't really stand. And I love what's her name, Kate
Kate
Blanchett, but I
Blanchett.
could
Oh,
not do this.
really?
I don't know why. It just was so obnoxious, and it's not. It wasn't the gender. I don't care.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
no,
was
I
not
get,
it. That
yeah.
wasn't like, oh, too much for me to handle.
Yeah, a woman.
A woman playing a man.
Yeah. Now,
Oh
granted,
my
when he's
god. Yeah.
apparently when he was 8 years old, he was an African American child. But but for
But yeah,
him to
yeah.
be a woman,
I just kind of
yeah.
mad. But I'm also like, I I have really complicated feelings about Bob Dylan. There's some songs that I really like, and as someone who likes like poetry, as like a
Mhm.
songwriter, really appreciate it. I also find him like annoying and obnoxious. I have like all the feelings
Yes.
with him, and
Yes.
most of it I don't like. But like, stuck in a mobile with the Memphis Blues again. Like, I
Uh-huh.
love that song. Is that
Yes.
what it's called?
It's yes. Yeah,
Stuck in,
it is,
yeah,
isn't
right,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a very good.
Look,
Love that song.
I know exactly how you feel. Sometimes I feel like he's just making up a bunch of gibberish that people
Yeah.
just kind of put meaning to. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Like,
like, we get it,
yeah.
girl. We get it. Calm down. Yeah.
But, if I'm listening to Shelter from the Storm, I feel safe and happy. And what can I
All on
say?
the Watchtower.
Oh
Great.
god, yes. I mean, yeah, but I mean he has that image and that fame for a reason. He's fucking Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I mean that son of a bitch could be walking down the street and you would never know it was him. You'd be like, who's this homeless woman? But it's Bob Dylan. But yeah,
I
that's yeah.
I just saw probably Neil Young's last tour.
I fucking hate Neil Young
Oh,
so
you
much.
bitch. Why do you hate Neil Young?
I just his voice gets on my fucking
Oh, I
nerves.
like
And
it.
but the crazy thing is that I like some of his songs. Like I love like a lot of the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young stuff, like
So
Ohio and
good.
all that. Yeah.
Yes,
So I love
agreed.
that. And I think he is one of the most underrated guitarists of all time. Like Southern Man is a great song. But there's just so
Wait, he didn't
much.
do Southern. Oh, yes, he did Southern Man. Sorry, I was thinking what the response, the Leonard Skinner.
Oh, Sweet
Sorry,
Home
yeah, yes,
Alabama.
yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. He did
Not a
Southern
fan of
Man.
that
That was the
song.
whole
Yes, yes, yes. So
thing.
Southern Man, and then there's a few, like Old Man is a great song, but
Yeah.
then there's like Heart of Gold, and a lot of those songs, I hate those
Heart of
songs.
Gold makes me cry. Like I cried. I cried watching it. I was just like, oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
I just
I
not
get,
a I don't know what
get
it
to.
is, like, I'm just not yeah, I never really liked Neil Young. I mean, I don't
What's
like
my
the Eagles.
controversial?
Eagles, another band that I fucking hate.
I love the Eagles,
Yeah,
but I'm
well,
like so into dad yacht rock. Like I do
oh,
love it.
oh God, we're here we go, another level to our bonding. Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins, all that stuff is like,
Steve
I
Miller
love
Band?
it. Oh my God, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Steve
It's
Miller
more
Band
like
is
creepy
incredible.
uncle. It's like your uncle that like you wouldn't really trust around the kids. That's what he listens to. Like,
That's yeah, 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 yeah. So there's because there's yacht rock, which is more the Michael McDonald, Boz Scaggs, Kenny Loggins,
yeah.
Hall and Oates. But yeah, then
Oh.
there's creepy uncle. Um, yeah, who's always got a couple of crushed up Coors Lights in his
Yeah,
car.
yeah, yeah,
Has
yeah.
has money, but
Always
you don't know
smells of
where it
weed.
comes from. Yeah, 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 yeah. That guy. That's a Steve Miller Band. Um, like old school Aerosmith type guy. Where you're just
Yeah.
like, what is a Foreigner? Listen to a lot of Foreigner. Where you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
I love
okay, like this
Foreigner.
band, yeah, yeah. ELO maybe a little bit. And you're just like, oh,
Yellow.
ELO,
Oh yeah, love
yeah,
yellow.
yeah. That's a sketchy uncles
Yeah. I guess
playlist.
that's what I am. I'm like a sketchy uncle.
I guess I am too, which is not not good to
But yeah,
admit
I love the
publicly.
Eagles. It's like, and I don't know what
Oh,
happened, but do you hate Jerry Rafferty?
I like Jerry Rafferty.
So good. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I like
But
Jerry Rafferty. I like uh who sings Dreamweaver? Gary Wright, is that his name?
oh, I don't
Yes,
remember,
Gary
but
Wright.
I know the song.
It's Gary
Yeah,
Wright. Yeah, he's incredible. Christopher Cross, like all the kind of stuff is
I don't know Christopher Cross.
you would definitely know some of his songs, you just may not know the name. I'll
Okay.
yeah, I might make you like a little Spotify playlist now that I'm thinking about it. Just like a
All
little
right.
playlist
I'm
and shit.
down. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Always
Well,
down.
no, this was fucking amazing. I had a great time talking with you. We covered a lot of random shit, which
Yes,
is
we did.
kind of the point. So I guess, mission accomplished. But yeah. So before we go, again, plug, promote, where can people find you? All that good stuff.
Find me on OnlyFans at arabelleraphael.com. Or no.
All
Sorry.
right. We'll get it.
Jump in.
Take two.
At Arabelle Raphael. You can find me on Instagram as that too, and on Twitter at Mommy Arabelle. So
Hell yes. Any last words for the audience? Take on the Middle East? I don't know. Do you think the vaccine's real? I mean,
no, I just like I like never talk about politics. I used to when I first
uh-huh.
started, like
Yeah.
this was like over a decade ago. Used to so much, and I chose self care. And so, like, beyond like controversial like musician takes, like I will not.
I'm with you.
Like I care about myself. No, I'm like I'll keep
Yeah.
my like politics to me.
It's a great way to be. It's
I
how
don't.
people used to be.
I don't want to interact with a bunch of assholes online about it.
God, I'm with you. No, I try to make it to where no one knows what I think, and I think I've done a good job. But I think there's some things that might just be unavoidable.
I
I
mean,
think,
I think if you're really fucking stupid, like you might not get it, but I feel like following my stuff to a certain degree, you're
yeah,
like, okay, you kind of
yeah,
get a little bit of a vibe.
I'm with you. God. Well, again, thank you so much. This has been a fucking blast.